Salty. All right, so let's talk about his tier placement first of all, right? A lot of people have Sentinel as number 1. A lot of people have him as number 2. Personally, I have Sentinel as number 2 on the tier list. The sole reason for this is because he's big body. It kind of makes him easy to hit if you know how to approach him correctly. And 2, he loses to Cable at a competitive level. Storm does not. Storm fights Cable very well. Now, let's talk about the design of Sentinel. He's designed to be a tank, right? He has very slow normal jump animation, a very slow normal jump animation. And when you don't utilize his flight mode, he's slow in general. His normals are kind of slow, but they do damage. He's very damaging. So he's kind of that character that's slow, but supposed to hit hard. What Capcom did not account for is his flight mode, right? His flight mode is faster than his ground wave dash. And his wave dash isn't bad either. It's very, very serviceable, very fast actually. But his flight mode is faster, which is insane. So Sentinel, Marvel 2 Sentinel was a happy mistake. And that's kind of widely been accepted by the Marvel 2 community, that they did not intend for him to be this way. Right? So in addition to his flight mode, what makes him broken? 1, his normals chip. Every normal that you make the opponent block chips 1 point of health. And I think Fierce is chip 2, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's 2 points on a Fierce. He has super armor on his normals on the floor. Now, for the Marvel 3 guys that are watching this or that are in here right now, super armor is different than hyper armor. Hyper armor was something that became normalized in Marvel 3, but it wasn't really a thing in Marvel 2. Hyper armor, I think like the only character that has that is probably Mech Zangief. Hyper armor was also in Marvel 1 with Gold War Machine. But anyway, what is super armor? So super armor means if you're pressing a button, right? I'm trying to do this with my foot. It's really hard to do this. There you go. It does not cause hit stun. It slows him down a little bit, but it does not break his armor. And Colossus, correct, yeah. So it does not break his armor. So how do you break his armor on the floor? You have to use a Fierce or a Roundhouse to break his armor. That's the only time his armor gets broken, and it has to be jumping. Notice if Magneto hits you with a Fierce, he still has armor there. You can also break it if you do a 2-hit string. So if I do short with Magneto, it gets broken. Now, super armor is still good despite it being able to be broken. And he does not have any super armor when he's flying or jumping. So when he's in the air, he's completely vulnerable like any other character. If he had super armor in the air, he'd be insane. So yeah, super armor makes him broken. Chipping on his normals make him broken. Flying makes him broken. Now, the reason why he's so high on the tier list as well is because this right here exists. Spit, fly, and fly. This destroys 90% of the low tier cast. They really don't have an answer for this. It's too strong. The movement for other characters pale in comparison to Magneto, Storm, Sentinel, so they can't navigate this well. So he's a low tier killer, right? He makes the other characters in the cast obsolete. What else does he have? Oh, his best friend, Captain Commando. Okay, so obviously Sentinel has stand spit, crouch spit. It locks off 2 areas of the horizontal screen. He has a 45-degree limb, so this locks off a big portion of the screen here. I can be over here and I'll tap him. So this is ridiculous, this button. He locks off, what degree is that? It's like a 70? Like right below him, right there, he locks that off. And then Cap covers the entire vertical axis. So, okay, we'll call it 85. So, Cap, in addition to Sentinel's horizontal zoning, with Cap, makes fighting him in neutral a nightmare. He's unbelievably strong with Cap. Most anti-air assists that cover a good part of the screen, he's gonna do well with. In the beginning of the game's life, people even used them with Cammy. Now, let's talk about how he evolved over the competitive meta. When people realized how strong he was, they used him a lot with Cap, right? Well, they still do it. It's probably the best duo in the game. But they were really focused on zoning, right? Spit, fly, and fly. They approach you, call Cap, and try to land a fly combo. We'll get into fly combos in a little bit. But as the meta progressed, people started realizing that he's also actually a really good frame trap character, a really good mix-up character, right? If you utilize his normals plus assist and put them in a situation where they're forced to block, you get really good mix-ups. Now, what's his mix-up options? You got crouching short, you got crouching roundhouse, they both hit low. Any fly, any button in flight mode is a high, and you have instant overhead with jump jab into roundhouse. That's instant overhead if they're crouching. And you also have instant overhead with jumping short into roundhouse. So he's a very, very good mix-up character. So when you look at matches that are played nowadays, you'll see a lot of mix-up opportunities being created by the people who use him, because the meta has just gotten better with him in terms of people being able to move with this character. Now, Sentinel has a couple of glitches that also help him, right? The first being fast fly. Now, what is fast fly? If you do a normal into fly, before you can press a button, you have to wait a little bit before the button comes out. That's what it looks like normally. So this won't combo by itself. However, there's a little bit of an oversight or a glitch. We really don't know if this was put in intentionally or not. But if you fly and tap a direction, the direction cancels the recovery of his flight, which allows you to link a normal, whereas most of the time you wouldn't be able to. So what does this do? It creates pressure. He can do things like that. It creates fly combos. And we'll get into refly later, right? So this tool is indispensable for Sentinel. It also, well, this isn't really fast fly, but his flight cancels help him zone really well, right? And it makes him move. As soon as he flies, he's able to move if you tap a direction. So again, the input is button, fly, tap neutral. Button, fly, go into neutral, tap a direction, button again. That's the input for a fly combo. Now, what makes this devastating? You can call assist during flight mode. Flight mode counts as a normal jump state. So you can fly around and call assists. But what really matters is the confirms. The combos you get off of it. Big damage. 60% for no reason. Right? Big damage when he has commando. So let's put it all together. He has great movement, great zoning, great damage, great chip, and he locks people down. He is by definition almost a perfect character. The only thing that makes him not perfect is his size. He's really big. That's his only weakness. Right? So that was glitch number 1. Glitch number 2, we'll talk about his flight mode again. When I cancel into flight, let's say I do a normal, cancel into flight, and I unfly, I cannot block. Sentinel cannot block while he's flying. So when he goes into flight mode, he's technically in normal jump state. When you unfly, you can't block. Right? So I can't block here. Let's see if I can show this. Block. I gotta do fierce. Whoops. It's hard to do with my foot. There you go. Can't block on the way down. Now, there's a glitch in this game that allows him to block after flight. If he gets hit with a move that does not put him on his back, right? So it creates a bounce. If he gets hit with any move like that, he gets this mode called unfly. What's unfly? So when I'm flying, I get 1 normal jump action after I unfly. So I could press a button, or I could block now. Let's see if I could do this again. Well, you see the blocking animation there. But it's so hard to do. Oh, actually, let's see. I need help. There you go. There you go. All right. So he can block. Now, the thing about unfly is if you normal jump while you have this state, you will lose it. So let's look. Right now, I can press a button after I unfly. I'm gonna normal jump. Try to press a button. Fuck. It's gone. So when you have unfly state, a lot of competitive Marvel players keep track of when they have unfly. It's kind of a necessity when you play this character to know when you have unfly and when you don't. So you always want to be in unfly state. Right? You always want to be in unfly state in order to protect yourself while you're zoning. So this means you're kind of gonna have to forego pressuring with like normal jump, light kick, and stuff like that when you have unfly. Instead, you want to do super jump short into a string or something to keep your unfly state. Because if you super jump, you do not lose unfly. You keep it. The only time you lose it is if you normal jump. Right? Also, unfly gives you access to really cool extended combos. You can do things like that. You can do things like that because of unfly. Right? What else we got? Do I go into refly right now? We're just going to explain his mechanics and then we're going to go into strategy, okay? So, what's a refly? So, we went over fast fly. We went to fast fly. We went into unfly. Now, there's something called refly. And refly is exactly what it sounds like. It's when you cancel your flight mode into another flight mode. So you do short, unfly, fly, short again. Something like that. That's a refly. So you can actually combo this if you're really fast. Like that. It's very, very hard to do though. So that's a refly. But aside from it looking really cool in combos, what's the main purpose of refly? And it's to keep your pressure up, right? So reflies at the highest level are just really good in pressure strings. So normally when you want to pressure someone, you would do like short roundhouse plus assist, something like that, and make them block, then you land go for a mix. With the refly, if your assist is on cooldown, you can extend your string. You can extend your string so your assist comes back and then you get a mix. So refly is it has a lot of applications. It's very strong in pressure scenarios. You don't need it for combos at all. It's just there to be flashy, but you really don't need it. You can play a very effective Sentinel without ever doing a refly in a combo. Now, let's talk about his strategy, right? Like we said before, you want to zone with fierces. This is really good. Hit, fly, and fly. You want to... So, at low levels, you can deck people with a fly combo when they try to dash in, right? So if you zone them out, you're zoning, you could counter them to be kind of like anti, like a Street Fighter. You know, someone, when you chuck a fireball in Street Fighter, you know that they're gonna jump. Yo, Powwow, thank you for gifting that sub, bro. Appreciate that. So in Street Fighter, you know, when you chuck a fireball, if you're playing someone that doesn't have patience or isn't that great in neutral, they're gonna jump over a fireball, right? Playtime is ended. Powwow, thank you for the sub again, bro. With Sentinel, it's the same concept, and what you want to do is meet them in the air and deck them with a fly combo, like that. Except you omit the launch, right? Because your starter is gonna be the super jump short. So at low levels, that becomes really effective against people who are very impatient. At a higher level, when you get to the tip top, not tip top, but the top of like advanced play, landing fly combos become less and less of a thing. You have to give up landing a fly combo because these players will not get hit by fly combos. You have to set them up for it, right? The good players aren't going to give you 60% of their character for free. You have to earn it. So how do you do this? Same way, you set them up, annoy them on the floor with strings. Oh, and how did I forget about this button? This button right here, frying pan. Look at this shit. This button right here is ridiculous. Plus cap, look, 2 hits for no reason. And then even if you just accidentally tap them, you can confirm into that for dumb damage. It's dumb. Yes, the fly swatter. We call it the frying pan. But this move is really good, right? It swats away Magnetos. And look at the hitbox on it. It covers above his head and directly in front of him, while light kick covers down here. So he's literally putting up a wall against anyone that approaches him. And then you have this button down here. Look at his options, bro. Any angle you approach him from, you have to be very cautious. You have to approach him, and then jab as well. Jab hits. So I'm sure you were thinking, oh, well, you don't get much of an air-to-air if you hit someone in air with roundhouse, yeah, you don't press roundhouse there, you press jab. This is where you get your damage from when you're trying to air, is the jab into fly combo, right? So you do, whoops, same confirm. It doesn't work in the corner like that most of the time. Same confirm. So yeah, his normals are just really insane. They literally create a shield around him, right? That lead to 60% damage if you have the right assist. Even if you don't have the right assist, it's a good 30. Like, come on, he's OD. So yes, going back to advanced play, you kind of have to forego the fact that you're gonna land these combos on good players. They're not gonna let you. So you have to be content with taking damage from chipping them with normals, chipping them with assist, and then when you know they are gonna get really impatient, that's when you sneak in the fly combo, right? So what else is really effective in neutral? Flyback Sentinel. Flyback Sentinel is really hard to combat. Look at this. He can literally just fly back and control screen. Flyback Sentinel, while reacting to what the opponent is going to do, is very powerful. So you kind of always want to be in this space here when you play Sentinel. You want to be here so you can react, and then when they get too close, you can fly back and pull the screen, or you can backdash, spit, and then fly and pull the screen further. Now, you don't always want to play Flyback Sentinel because obviously you're going to run out of screen, right? Come on, dash. Oh, God. Hang on. And now he stopped flying. Nice. So you're gonna run out of screen. So you want to be aware of where you're at on the screen, and when you're approaching the corner, you want to create a situation where you can get out and go to the other side. So it's kind of like playing Sagat or Ryu in Street Fighter, probably mostly closely akin to Sagat, where when you get into the corner, you want to get back and scroll the screen to the other corner, right? He wants to play that zoning game. That's his home. So at advanced levels, this is where your strings come into play, right? Because you're gonna forego his probably most powerful tool of the fly combo. So if you're not gonna get damage from the fly combo, how are you gonna get damage? You're gonna get damage by stringing them up. You string them up with let's say Typhoon or even a cap. You can do stuff like that. String them up, go for a mix, or you can just really zone them out. It's just as effective. Right. You can also do that like Rune said, right? So look at that. He from here I can create a mix-up scenario. I can do light kick plus roundhouse and Typhoon into light kick, and then they're forced to block there, and I get to go for a mix. So he's really busted. He's a really good character. He does not need fly combos to be effective. Fly combos is just the cherry on top. What else do we have in addition to fly combos? Well, addition to chipping, we also have push block strings, right? I spoke about this a couple streams ago, maybe like a month or two ago, but he can actually bait push blocks very well. So if you know that someone's always going to push block on wake up, you can do things like jab, spit plus Typhoon into fly light kick to set up a mix up. Now all right, we explained unfly, so we don't need unfly anymore, right? So let me just let me just put the computer on block so we can see this a little bit better. Okay, let's put him on block. So what does it look like when you do that string? So it looks like that. So if they push block the jab, the spit is gonna lock them in regardless because it's a full screen beam, right? And then Typhoon is gonna hit, your light kick hits, and then you go for a mix. PRD, if you got questions, go ahead. I'm all ears right now. So that's a really good push block string. He also has this. That's the Ken mix-up string, which is really good. And I'm gonna talk about really quickly, at high level, you don't always want to pressure with assist. What makes him so stupid is that he can pressure by himself just fine, right? So what do you use your assist for? You use your assist as a counter call. So you're gonna pressure them in the corner as much as you can, and then your opponent is gonna panic and they're gonna call their assist. Once they call their assist, you counter call with cap and you start your pressure all over again. So Sentinel is really busted because he can create solo pressure, he can create pressure with assist, and he can chip full screen. So he does it all, baby. He does everything. The only thing he's missing is a command grab, which isn't really a thing in Marvel 2. More so about fighting against Sentinel and when you get a turn versus Sentinel. But I know all that situational depending on the character. Yeah, but give me an example, PR Eddie, so I can help you out. So yes, like I said, at advanced levels, you're going to have to learn to move with him correctly. That's where the reply and the good spacing and the movement come in, right? Because you're going to forego your assist and use him as a counter call. What's the appropriate time to push block with Sentinel in the air and you in the ground? Push block with Sent in the air. So if someone is hitting you with normals while you're on the floor, Apollo, and you're Sentinel, let me just make sure I got that scenario correct. So for instance, if I'm blocking in the air, I'm blocking on the floor and Magneto's coming down with like a fierce roundhouse, something like that. What's the appropriate time? In Marvel 2, it's generally a good rule to push block the last hit of the string, right? So you want to push block the last hit of the string if you're a Sentinel. Now, on the reverse side, on the flip side, if you're like Magneto Storm and Sentinel's pressuring you with air limbs, you kind of don't want to push block that, right? And the reason I say that is because if Magneto push blocks a Sentinel here when they're pressuring, he's going to push block. It's going to put him in more block stun. Then you unfly and you get a spit for free and you get to do it again. So when you're fighting Sentinels that are pressuring you with light kick, you kind of just want to block and move. You don't really want to push block them too much because you're putting them in the position that they want to be in, which is further away from you. Okay, so after that push block bait string with Typhoon Assist, do you just gotta wait? What do I look for to get out? So you're talking, damn, everyone wants to know how to fight against Sentinel. So if you don't push block PR Eddie, there's a gap. You see the gap right there? Right before Typhoon hits. You can chicken guard there. If you don't push block. If you push block, you're fucked. You're gonna have to eat a mix. You see how long Typhoon takes to get there? Now, if they do that, so that one is when I'm called Typhoon with the jab. Right? That becomes a true string. You gotta eat a mix there, but if you push block, that fucks up the timing as well. Right. So it's a mind game, right? Am I gonna push block? Am I not? So again, that's the thing about Marvel 2. There's no universal answer on defense. Oh yeah, let's talk about HSF. So what's HSF? It's Hyper Sentinel Force is super. Right? In Marvel 3, HSF wasn't as strong as it is in Marvel 2. So why is it strong? It can infinitely loop into itself as long as you have bar. And look at the damage on it. As long as you have bar, you can infinitely loop that, and you get a combo at the end of it. So you hit with HSF, you dash in, launch, it's a combo. So HSF is really good, and it's really good for chip as well. You can chip with HSF. However, when you get to the competitive level, you can guard cancel and get out of HSF. So you have to be careful about that. We'll save guard canceling for another stream. Hard to tell the end of the string if they have good stun pressure. Yeah, it is. It is. The game is very hard paced. I mean, it's very fast paced. So you have to pay attention. You have to be very aware of when it's your time to take your turn. Have to be aware. Let's talk about his unblockable. Sentinel has an unblockable in this game, and it's his crouching spit. If you make an opponent land on the last part of the spit, for some reason it does not activate their guard frames, and it counts as a true unblockable. So no, Bill, we're not going over that today. So on the unblockable, when you kill a character, Sentinel can just, let's say you kill a character there, he can crouching spit if he times it correctly and unblockable a character into HSF. Now you also get that option off a corner combo. You do a force roll combo like that, Pierce Roundhouse, forces roll, and you try to time the spit when they're getting up to unblockable them. Like that. Right? So his unblockable is really good too. It makes him really busted on incoming. No, you cannot roll that. So in this game you can't roll anything that causes flying screen. So that's flying screen. So you can't roll. So when you get that state in the corner, you get a free OTG. You get a free OTG because of flying screen. It's inescapable if you do it correctly. What else do we have? So I talked about utilizing his fly pressure at a high level solo. Solo fly pressure is really good, and you save your assist to counter call. Now, you don't always have to do that. If you find a good opportunity to do a roundhouse cap into string somewhere in there, you should take it. right? Because there's really no drawback to him going for a mix off of that scenario. The worst case is the mix fails. So if your low fails, you're in flight mode and then you fly back. Or if your instant overhead fails, you're in flight mode, you fly back. So yeah, there's no drawback to his mix-ups. Now, one thing I want to talk about as well is that we already established that he's a zoning character, right? Where do zoners want to be? They want to be far away from you. So I see a lot of people getting caught up in this trap, especially against Storm, right? Oh, I'm not in manual mode. But all right, so versus Storm, a lot of Storm players will approach you from here and they'll float. Actually, I have Storm. So they'll do this, right? They'll do this. A lot of Storms will do this to try and counter hit you jumping in the air to hit them. And this is really strong too at medium levels because it causes proximity guard and it forces you to stay there. So what do you do in this scenario if you're a Sentinel? You want to wait until you have the opportunity to forward dash, right? When you have the opportunity to forward dash when people are coming up above your head like that, you forward dash and keep wave dashing out of the situation. So let's pretend I'm the Sentinel on the floor. I see Storm doing this. I'll wait till my head turns or that arrow lines up with me moving forward, and I'll wave dash out of the situation like that. Wave dash under them. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna reset the positions in neutral, right? So now, because you're trying to be super lame and lay me out like that, I'm gonna dash under, fly, and then reset the situation. So you don't always have to deal with that. Now that's easier said than done because proximity does exist in this game, and sometimes when you're trying to wave dash, you might get a crouching fierce or something of the sort. Okay, what's proximity guard? Proximity guard happens. Can I trigger it from here? Damn, it doesn't work with the computer, huh? Alright, so let me pick more characters. Jesus Christ, it's annoying. Excuse me, guys. I know, Dave. Training mode sucks so much. Okay, so proximity guard is a state that exists in Marvel 2 that causes you to guard an attack that's not making contact with you. So I'm holding down back here. Cable is nowhere close to me, right? You see how when I press jab, it puts me in block stun. This is proximity guard. It happens from really far away. Full screen causes proximity guard. This is what makes movement in Marvel 2 really hard. Because if you try to backdash sometimes and they throw out a normal, it'll put you in a guard stun state. So just moving around in this game is really fucked up because of proximity guard. Now, proximity guard also gets triggered when they're in the air and you're on the floor. And the situation I mentioned before, where Storm is just spamming light kicks above your head, is gonna cause you to go into proximity guard. So if you try to backdash in this situation, right? If you try to backdash, you're gonna get put into block stun, which is why forward dash is the answer. Because forward dash, there is no back in your input. It's not going to trigger proximity guard. So you want to forward dash under her and keep wave dashing until you get out of the danger zone. Right? That's how you beat that stupid strategy when they're just like, hey, let me just fucking fish for a hit into DHC. That's how you beat it. You forward dash out of the situation. What else did I miss with Sentinel? I think we got everything, right? We got fly, we got fast fly, we covered unfly, we covered refly, we covered his zoning, we covered how to deal with proximity. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And again, this is just for the new guys to get acclimated with the character. There's a lot of, obviously he's a very in-depth character. He's not someone that you're gonna pick up and be good within a month, right? There's a lot of nuance involved with him where you're gonna have to realize when you can press buttons. Oh yeah, we can talk about Storm Sent DAC. All right, let's talk about Storm Sent DAC real quick. So from you guys that are coming from the Marvel 3 background, the DHC glitch that was included in Marvel 3 is in Marvel 2. And what does this mean? However, you don't need a capture state for it to work. Some supers just do it on their own, and Lightning Storm super is one of these supers. So what does this do? It allows you to do a really easy DHC that's going to kill a character. Like that. All that damage. If you have another bar, he's dead. Right? And you get a launch too. So let me let's do it in the corner so you can see the full damage of this bullshit. Look at that. Look at that. He's almost dead. And if I had did a super, he was pretty much dead there. Right? So let's do 3 bars. Oh fuck, I done fucked that up. He's dead. He's dead. So, and you get up back mix setup. Yes. Unblockable mix up setup. Yeah. If they're not dead, like Dave said, if they're not dead off of that, you get a mix up scenario right there or an unblockable. At that point, you might as well just go for chip. You might as well do stuff like that and just chip them out if they have a pixel. Because again, his normal's chip. So yeah, that's what makes Storm Sent really strong. They're probably one of the best duos in the game. So if you're not familiar with Marvel 2, the strongest duos on the game are Storm Sent, Sent Cap, and Mag Sai. Mag Storm is pretty strong as well. And Cable Drones. You know, those are like the really strong duos. Then you also got Strider Doom and like Spiral Sent, stuff like that. But Sent Cap, Storm Sent, Mag Sai, those are the top 3. And I think that's pretty much it, guys. I think that's gonna conclude the beginner / intermediate discussion on Sentinel. And I know there wasn't a lot of flashiness here, but he's not a flashy character. You don't have to be flashy with Sentinel to be effective. You wanna perfect your spacing. You want to perfect your zoning, and you want to take your mix-up opportunities when they come. And you also want to counter call correctly with this character. What's covered in advance? I don't know, Bill. I don't have an advanced Sentinel. Maybe you could do that video. Yeah, so those are the keys to getting a good Sentinel. Right? And that's really all I got to give. I know it's not as detailed as like my Mag Storm walkthroughs, but this is as far as my knowledge goes with the character, and this is all I can really offer up. So, yep, that's gonna be it. Anybody got any questions in the stream beside Bill?